There are moments in life that feel too strange to be coincidence. Certain names keep appearing. Certain people enter your path at the exact moment your spirit is breaking. And somehow, one letter, one presence, one mysterious connection begins to follow you everywhere you go. For many of you, that signal is J. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself it was random. But deep inside, your spirit kept trembling every time it appeared. In conversations, in dreams, in unexpected encounters, in names you couldn't escape. And now you're here, listening to this message because something in your soul knows this is bigger than chance. Chosen one, what if J was never just a person? What if it was a divine signal? A spiritual marker sent to awaken something hidden inside you? Because throughout history, God has always used unusual signs to reach the people he selected for a higher purpose. Moses saw the burning bush. Joseph received prophetic dreams. Samuel heard a voice calling his name in the night. The chosen are never awakened in ordinary ways. Heaven uses patterns, repetition, and spiritual interruptions to get their attention. And maybe that's exactly what has been happening. To you, you've been feeling different lately. More isolated, more spiritually sensitive, more aware of energies around you. People misunderstand you. Some secretly envy you. Others disappear from your life for no clear reason. And at the same time, you keep seeing J connected to major emotional or spiritual turning points. That is not small. That is not meaningless. Because chosen ones often receive divine signals before entering a new season of transformation. The signal comes before the awakening. The confusion comes before the revelation. And the separation comes before the elevation. Hear this clearly. Not everyone will understand this message. Only those whose spirits have already begun waking up will truly feel it. The truth is, being chosen is not glamorous at first. It is painful, lonely, confusing. God separates chosen people before he reveals them. He allows betrayal to strengthen discernment. He allows rejection to build spiritual endurance. He allows certain people to walk away so the chosen one stops depending on human validation. And maybe J entered your life to trigger that exact process. Maybe they were sent to expose wounds you ignored. Maybe they are awakened emotions that forced you to confront your true self. Maybe their presence pushed you into your spiritual awakening without you even realizing it. Because divine signals do not always arrive peacefully. Sometimes they shake your world first. Chosen one, you've been asking why your life feels different now, why your old mindset no longer fits, why certain relationships suddenly feel heavy, why your intuition has become stronger. Why do you feel emotionally exhausted around fake people? This is why. Your spirit is evolving, and J may have been the signal heaven used to start the transformation. The scary part is this. Most people ignore divine signs when they first appear. They dismiss them because they arrive wrapped in confusion instead of clarity. But chosen ones eventually realize the pattern was guiding them the entire time. Look back at your life carefully. Every painful moment carried a lesson. Every betrayal redirected you. Every delay protected you. Every mysterious encounter awakened another layer of your spirit. Nothing was random. Nothing. You thought you were losing people, but God was removing distractions. You thought you were being punished, but heaven was preparing you. You thought you were broken, but your soul was actually awakening to a higher level of discernment. And now you are beginning to see through people in ways you never could before. That is one of the first signs of a chosen one. You can feel energy before words are spoken. You can sense fake intentions behind smiles. You notice spiritual heaviness others ignore. Crowded places drain you. Silence heals you. And deep down, you know your life carries a purpose bigger than survival. That feeling is real. Chosen ones often feel disconnected from the world because their spirit was never designed to fully belong to it. And the moment J appeared, something shifted inside you permanently. You became more aware, more emotional, more spiritually alert, more hungry for truth. That wasn't weakness. That was activation. Because when heaven sends a signal, your spirit responds before your mind understands. Some of you have been fighting this awakening because it scares you. You miss who you used to be. Life felt easier before you started noticing spiritual patterns, before your intuition became intense, before you started outgrowing people you once loved. But growth always feels uncomfortable before it feels powerful. The caterpillar probably thinks its world is ending before becoming a butterfly. And chosen one, your old self is falling apart because your higher self is finally emerging. This is why the attacks increased. This is why confusion surrounded your mind. This is why certain people suddenly turned against you without explanation. Spiritual warfare intensifies whenever a chosen person is close to discovering who they truly are. The enemy fears awakened people, especially those marked for influence, healing, leadership, and spiritual impact. And that's why your journey has never been ordinary. People projected their pain onto you. Some tried to discourage you. Others secretly hoped you would fail. But despite everything, you kept surviving. You kept rising. You kept searching for truth even when your heart was tired. That resilience is another sign. Chosen ones are attacked differently because they carry something valuable spiritually. And maybe Jay was sent as the final wake-up call before your next level begins. Think about it carefully. Since this signal entered your life, you haven't been the same person. Your desires changed. Your awareness deepened. Your tolerance for fake connections disappeared. You started craving peace more than attention. That transformation is sacred, because God often removes the appetite for temporary things before introducing someone to their divine assignment. And yes, being chosen comes with a cost. You may lose relationships. You may outgrow environments. You may walk through seasons where nobody understands you. But isolation is often where heaven trains chosen people. Why? Because noise blocks spiritual clarity. God separates chosen ones long enough for them to hear his voice clearly instead of the opinions of the crowd. That's why your loneliness has carried hidden purpose. You were being rebuilt internally. Every tear strengthened your spirit. Every heartbreak increased your discernment. Every disappointment detached you from illusions. And now you are finally beginning to recognize your worth beyond human approval. Chosen one, hear this deeply. The world taught you to doubt yourself because your presence carries light. Darkness always reacts to light. People who secretly fear their own emptiness often attack spiritu. Ally gifted individuals because your authenticity exposes what they hide. That's why some people felt uncomfortable around you even when you did nothing wrong. Your energy challenged their masks. Your spirit carried truth. And Jay may have been the mirror that forced you to finally see this reality. Not everyone enters your life to stay forever. Some people arrive as divine messengers. Some arrive as spiritual lessons. Some arrive to awaken gifts buried inside you. And once the awakening begins, your entire reality changes. You stop chasing approval. You stop begging to be understood. You stop shrinking your spirit to make insecure people comfortable. Because chosen ones eventually realize they were never created to blend in. They were created to awaken others. That is why your journey feels heavier than most people's. You carry spiritual responsibility whether you fully understand it yet or not. Your words affect people deeply. Your energy shifts atmospheres. Your presence inspires others without you trying. And even when you feel broken, heaven still sees purpose inside you. The enemy attacks what heaven values. Never forget that. If your life has felt like constant warfare, there is usually a reason behind it. Ordinary spirits do not trigger extraordinary resistance. And right now, this message is reaching the people who needed confirmation the most. You are not imagining the signs. You are not crazy for sensing deeper meaning. Your spirit has been trying to wake you up. The real question is no longer whether the signal is real. The real question is, what are you going to do now that you see it? Will you continue shrinking yourself for people who cannot recognize your value? Will you keep doubting your intuition even after it has repeatedly protected you? Will you ignore the transformation happening inside your spirit? Or will you finally accept that your life carries divine purpose? Because chosen one, the moment you accept your calling, everything begins changing. Your fear loses power. Your discernment sharpens. Your confidence grows spiritually instead of emotionally. And most importantly, you stop seeing yourself as cursed and finally understand you were being prepared. Prepared for influence. Prepared for purpose. Prepared for spiritual elevation. Prepared to become who heaven designed you to be before the world tried to break you. And maybe that is the true meaning behind Jay's divine signal. Not obsession, not coincidence, but awakening. A divine interruption sent to pull you out of spiritual sleep and remind you that your soul was always meant for more. So if this message found you at the exact moment your spirit needed confirmation, pay attention, because heaven rarely repeats itself forever. And chosen one, this may be the sign you were praying for. Chosen one, there is something you must understand before you step into this next season of your life. The moment heaven marks someone for purpose, everything around them begins to change. Not because God wants to destroy them, but because transformation requires separation. And many of you have been grieving people, places, and versions of yourself that were never meant to follow you into your destiny. That pain you feel, it is the pain of spiritual growth, and Jay may have been the trigger that exposed it all. Because sometimes God allows one person to enter your life and completely shake your reality, not to ruin you, but to reveal you. Before they arrived, you were surviving on autopilot. You ignored your intuition. You silenced your inner voice. You tolerated disrespect just to avoid loneliness. But after this divine signal appeared, your spirit could no longer sleep. Suddenly you began questioning everything. Why do certain people drain your energy? Why do fake connections feel unbearable now? Why do you crave solitude more than noise? Why do you feel emotionally exhausted after being around certain individuals? Chosen one, that is discernment increasing inside you. Your spirit is becoming sharper. And the higher your discernment rises, the more uncomfortable ordinary environments become. This is why some of you feel disconnected from old friendships. You are no longer spiritually aligned with who you used to be. Your soul is evolving faster than your environment. And growth like that can feel lonely because not everyone is willing to evolve with you. But hear this clearly. Do not confuse isolation with abandonment. God isolates chosen people strategically. The lion hunts alone for a reason. Eagles fly above storms for a reason. Diamonds are formed under pressure for a reason. And your life has been under pressure because heaven has been shaping you for something bigger than temporary comfort. You keep asking why people misunderstood you. Because chosen ones are rarely understood during the preparation stage. People judge what they cannot spiritually recognize. Joseph was hated before he was elevated. David was overlooked before he became king. Even Jesus was misunderstood by people standing directly in front of him. So why are you surprised that your own journey feels lonely? You were never meant to be fully understood by everyone. Your spirit carries something uncommon, and uncommon people walk uncommon paths. That is why your battles have been different. Some of you have fought silent depression nobody knew about. Some of you smiled while carrying unbearable emotional weight. Some of you survived betrayal from the very people you trusted most. And somehow, despite everything, you are still here. That is not weakness. That is spiritual endurance. Chosen ones are built through storms because storms reveal what cannot be shaken. And every attack against your life was secretly building the strength you would later need for your purpose. The enemy thought the pain would destroy you, but instead it awakened you. That is why intuition became stronger after heartbreak. That is why your spirit became wiser after betrayal. That is why your connection with God deepened after isolation. The suffering carried lessons your comfort never could. And now your eyes are opening in ways they never opened before. You can see manipulation faster. You can sense dishonesty quicker. You notice envy hidden behind compliments. You recognize spiritual heaviness immediately. That sensitivity is not a curse. It is spiritual awareness. But many chosen ones make one dangerous mistake during this stage. They start doubting themselves because other people cannot understand what they feel. Listen carefully. Not everybody is spiritually awake. Some people only operate through logic, appearances, and surface-level thinking. But chosen ones experience life differently. They feel things deeply because their spirit is connected to dimensions others ignore. That is why certain dreams feel real to you. That is why repeated signs affect you emotionally. That is why your soul reacts strongly to specific energies. Your spirit notices what the physical eye cannot always explain. And Jay may have been one of those spirits. Tool markers guiding your awakening. But do not become obsessed with the person. Understand the lesson. Because the deeper meaning was never only about them. It was about who you were becoming through the experience. God sometimes uses people as mirrors. They reveal wounds you never healed. They expose insecurities you kept hiding. They awaken gifts you forgot existed. And once the lesson is complete, your spirit is never the same again. That is exactly where many of you are now. You are standing between your old identity and your higher calling. And that transition feels uncomfortable because your soul is shedding everything that no longer matches your future. Some of you can feel it already. You no longer enjoy shallow conversations. You no longer chase validation the way you used to. You no longer tolerate fake love just because you fear being alone. That is growth. Your standards are changing spiritually. And whenever standards rise, certain people naturally fall away. Do not beg them to stay. Anything God removes is making room for alignment. Some relationships were only temporary classrooms. Some people were assignments, not soulmates. Some connections were meant to awaken you, not accompany you forever. And once you accept that truth, your heart begins healing differently. Chosen one, stop blaming yourself for outgrowing environments that stunt your spirit. Trees cannot grow in pots forever. At some point, roots demand more space, and your spirit has been demanding expansion for a long time now. That restlessness you feel is not random. It is your soul realizing it was created for more peace, more purpose, more spiritual depth, more authenticity. You are tired of pretending, tired of shrinking, tired of dimming your light just to make insecure people comfortable. And heaven is saying enough. This next season requires courage. Because once a chosen person fully awakens, they cannot return to spiritual sleep again. You cannot unsee what God revealed. You cannot unknow the truth once discernment exposes it. That is why your life feels divided into two versions now. Who you were before the awakening and who you are becoming after it. The old version tolerated things the new version rejects immediately. The old version chased people. The new version protects peace. The old version feared rejection. The new version understands redirection. The old version begged for acceptance. The new version knows divine approval matters more than public validation. This transformation is sacred, and yes, it will cost you comfort. But comfort has never created greatness. Every chosen one in history had to walk through fire before stepping into purpose. Moses faced the wilderness. Joseph faced prison. Job faced loss. Jesus faced betrayal. Why? Because spiritual power is forged through testing. And your tests were never punishment. They were preparation. Preparation for the strength you now carry. Look at yourself honestly. A few years ago, some of the things you survive today would have destroyed you emotionally. But now, you recover faster. You discern quicker. You depend on God more deeply. You see through illusions more clearly. That is evidence of growth. Even your silence has changed. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. Because chosen ones eventually realize that misunderstood people often carry the greatest purpose. And hear this carefully. Your sensitivity is not weakness. The world trained you to believe emotional depth was a flaw. But spiritually gifted people feel deeply because their souls are highly aware. Your empathy, intuition, and emotional intelligence are part of your assignment. The problem is that many chosen ones spend years giving their energy to people who only know how to consume it. That must end now. Protect your spirit. Not everyone deserves access to your energy anymore. Some people only contact you when they need healing. Some only appear when they want attention. Some secretly envy the light they benefit from. Discernment means recognizing the difference between genuine connection and spiritual attachment. And chosen one, your spirit already knows the truth about certain people. You feel it. That discomfort is not paranoia. That heaviness is not imagination. Your spirit reacts before your mind catches up. Trust what God has been showing you privately, because one of the biggest signs of awakening is this. You stop ignoring red flags your soul has been warning you about for years. And that is exactly why certain relationships are collapsing now. Not because you failed, but because your spirit refuses to settle anymore. The old you would have tolerated it. The awakened you cannot. And although this transition feels painful, it is necessary. Because your next level requires emotional discipline. You cannot carry everyone into your destiny. Some people are too committed to misunderstanding you. Some are too addicted to chaos. Some only feel powerful when they drain others emotionally. And heaven is removing every connection that blocks your alignment. Trust the process, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because God often removes counterfeit connections before releasing authentic ones. And many of you are entering a season where your circle will become smaller but far more genuine. No more forced relationships, no more fake loyalty, no more spiritual exhaustion from constantly overgiving. This next chapter is about alignment, real peace, real purpose, real discernment. And chosen one, the greatest shift of all is this. You are finally beginning to recognize your own value. Not because people applauded you, not because society approved you, but because your spirit finally remembered who you are. You are not ordinary. You were never ordinary. That is why your journey felt heavier. That is why attacks came early. Hat is why betrayal followed you repeatedly. Darkness identifies light before light fully identifies itself. And the enemy often recognizes chosen people before they recognize themselves. But now the awakening is happening. Now your eyes are opening. Now your spirit is remembering its strength. And once a chosen one fully remembers who they are, their entire reality begins shifting. Fear loses control, confusion fades, discernment sharpens, purpose becomes clearer, and suddenly all the pain starts making sense. You realize the heartbreak built wisdom, the isolation built strength, the betrayal built discernment, the delays built patience. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. Every season carried hidden preparation. Even Jay, especially Jay, because that signal did exactly what it was sent to do. Wake you up. And chosen one, now that you are awake, never abandon yourself again.